In medicine, when we say something is normal, we mean that it's healthy and natural. Now, normal isn't ever just a single point, it's a range. So, within a certain range, your blood pressure is normal, which means that it's healthy and natural. Outside of that range, you can't live. Within a certain range of blood acidity, you can live and thrive, outside of which your life and health are threatened. So, normal equates to healthy and natural. But in society, we use the word normal to refer to anything that we're used to. For example, at a certain point, it was very normal for parents to spank their kids. They were taught to do that. Many parents still do. But it's not healthy nor natural. In indigenous cultures, in the cultures in which we first evolved, in small band hunter-gatherer groups, they didn't hit their kids. They did not. That's not how we evolved. And spanking kids, we now know from a lot of research, can be as traumatic as more severe forms of abuse. And this is in the hands of perfectly well-meaning, loving parents. So it's considered to be normal. But is it healthy or natural? No, it isn't. And what I'm saying is there's a lot of practices to do with parenting, with schooling, with the economy and politics, with cultural interactions that are the norm in the sense that that's what we're used to, but they're not only not healthy or natural, they're actually toxic. So that's why the subtitle of the book, Trauma, Illness, and Healing in a Toxic Culture. I think many things about our culture that we take for granted, that we think are normal, are neither healthy or natural, and they're responsible for a lot of dysfunction, a lot of illness of mind and body.
Why is it that you think that, I mean, we've gotten to this place where toxicity is sort of a normality? Even that conversation that you said about how we responded to disciplined children. I know in the book you talk about how we were told that babies should just be let to cry. And, you know, when it comes from the state of, I mean, I was in the pharmaceutical industry for 14 years, and in the journey of sort of waking up to emotionality and relationships and the inflammatory cost of relationships, I started to see that I was working for an industry that was very much, not always, but a lot of the time, treating symptoms rather than getting to the core of things. And I'm, you know, when it's coming from the authority of medicine, much like pediatrics and how we're supposed to raise kids, it seems like there's maybe an absence of criticism of these things. And I love that you're voicing it, because, you know, how can we not imagine that leaving a baby to cry because it's considered I think the words you used were like a tyrant. You know, that's, I think, from the research.
Well, I didn't use that word. What the Dr. Spock, Benjamin Spock, who for years was the authority, the guru on parenting for many decades. He actually said, he talked about the chronic resistance to sleep of the infant, and he talked about the tyranny of the infant who wanted to be picked up by the parents. Now, I have to confess, as a physician, until I learned better, I would give the same advice to parents. I'd say to them, you want to teach your kids how to sleep through the night? Don't pick them up when they're crying. It works. The kid goes back to sleep because they give up. They give up. But the message they get is that the emotions don't matter and that people don't care about how they feel. That's the message that they actually download. And that really has a traumatic impact on them. In modern culture, where parents have to rush off to work in the morning, which itself already is a big departure from the hunter-gatherer tribe where the kids were with their parents the whole day, and where kids were not left to cry. They were always picked up. I mean, the papoose in indigenous culture in North America, the way that African mothers bundle their kids, the way that gorillas and other apes hold their infants, you know, that's what's natural and healthy. It's necessary for healthy human development. But in this culture, it's very normal, and it's reinforced by authority figures like myself. You know, I delivered a lot of babies, and I would sometimes give this advice, not realizing the impact on the child. So the problem with medicine is it's not psychologically informed. It's a very mechanical. Modern medicine is a lot to its credit. I don't have to sing its praises because its achievements speak for themselves. They're amazing. But at the same time, modern medicine has lost understanding of human beings and human needs. So it's become a very mechanical, formula-driven process rather than responding to genuine human needs in so many conditions, from autoimmune disease to cancer to child development. And when you talked about your work in the pharmaceutical industries, you're quite right. when it comes to say like something like depression, I mean, there's like, I don't know how many million antidepressants there are out there, because there's always money to be, I'm exaggerating, but there's many. There's always money to be made by coming up with a new variant of an antidepressant to deal with the symptoms of depression. But when you actually look at the basis of depression in people's lives and the traumas, there's no money to be made for a pharmaceutical company in getting at sources, at causes. You can't through pills. So the research that doctors are given is driven by the profit motive of pharmaceutical companies. That's not a pejorative, it's just how it works under a capitalist system. But it means that the research that doctors get has got nothing to do with dealing with causes for the most part, especially not conditions of the mind or autoimmune diseases. We're actually mitigating symptoms, not a bad thing in itself, but it doesn't deal with the underlying problem.